Welcome to another episode of She Plants a Vineyard podcast. I am your host, Santana Withrow, and this podcast is presented by the Affinity Films. Today, I actually am filming this in my office, but we're not exactly in the studio. I actually had this set up for a client that's coming in later today. It's Sunday, and we're filming their video business card interview. I've already done all the B-roll, so the last piece to the video business card is filming the interview, having them answer questions about their business and what their vision is and kind of what they do, and explaining their services and their offerings. So coming in later today, filming that. So I already had this set up. All my lights and cameras are ready to roll. So I figured I'm just going to have to do the podcast here, which is fine. It gives you guys a little bit of insight on what it looks like when I do set up for a client. Last weekend, I ran the mud run with GenFit. Super fun. And, I did it last year. It was absolutely fantastic. So fun just being around a bunch of women and you get real dirty. That part is fun, but it's a little gross. It's becoming kind of interesting. The last 6 years, or since I started my business, I don't feel like that I was partners with whatever business I was working with. And since I've been working solely in West Virginia with clients in West Virginia, I really feel like this really big partnership with my clients. They're not just clients, they really are they're like my friends. And it's really cool because I haven't experienced that before. And I don't know if that's because that's how people in West Virginia are, or if it's just growth of me as a person, of being able to communicate differently and to explain things differently. And I even think over the years, I've just become more professional and I'm more of an expert in my field. And I think that has helped. So I think it's probably a little bit of both, right? Some of it is my clients are from West Virginia and there's a certain culture here of just being super welcoming and kind of that Southern hospitality that you hear about. And so everyone just wants to be a part of whatever everyone's doing. It's a small town, so kind of everyone knows everyone and everyone knows each other's business, which can be good and bad. But so it's been super cool just the past few months, not just building clientele, and this is a client service relationship or whatever. It's I'm building friendships that are going to last a lifetime. And it's been just so cool. I don't know how else to explain it. There's probably a better word for it than cool or fun, but it's just a really good feeling to have that these, whether they remain clients forever or not, that these are friendships that I'll have for my entire life. And I really truly believe that these are not just clients, they will be friends for life. Really excited for what's to come in the business, because I've seen a lot of growth in West Virginia, working in West Virginia. And I think that if anyone tells you you can't run a business in West Virginia, or there's not enough, the economy's too bad to run a business in West Virginia, they don't know what they're talking about. Is it harder? Is it different? Yes. Like I said, in my last podcast, I'm traveling all over the state working with different people. And is that stressful? Is it hard? Is it time consuming? Of course, but that's business. That is something you're going to deal with no matter where you're at, is different challenges. And just because the challenges here are different than what I dealt with before doesn't necessarily make them worse. They're literally just different challenges. Anyways, that's what I've been up to. But I kind of want to tell a little bit of a story today, because I don't really have much to talk about, because I would just be saying whatever I did last week, which is it's just been work. I want to tell a story about something called an NFT. I think it was 5 years ago, I bought this NFT, which is a non-fungible token. And I bought 2 of them. It was something called the Badass Bulldog. I'll put a picture up here. And the other one was called Hungry Hammerhead. I'll put that one right here. And these were released by somebody named Gary Vaynerchuk and his series of Veefriends. And he released these right when NFTs were booming. It was the new crypto, right? And I had just sold my house, and I had a little bit of extra money from that because we made money off the house. And I was I want to invest this. I trusted this guy. I'd seen him, followed him a lot for the last few years.
The punchline is, for everybody here. Content that actually brings value to the end user, game over.
And they were kind of an inexpensive investment for what I was trying to do or how much I was trying to invest. So I invested in this NFT. Like I said, I got 2 of them and they were a few $1,000s. And I know that seems a little crazy. You see the pictures up, you're like, what, you spent a few thousand? But I had a gut. And when you're in business and you've done things in business, you just learn to trust your gut sometimes. And so I trusted my gut and I bought them. A couple years go by and I had to make the decision to get divorced. Now, when I got divorced, I was left with $0. Okay, I was starting from ground zero. I had literally had no money, and I kind of was freaking out a little bit. I was like, how the F am I gonna move? I'm 16 hours away from where I want to go. This is gonna like cost money. I gotta get a new apartment. You know, you start running through all these scenarios in your head of like, how the heck am I gonna do this? And I recently, probably a few months before I decided to get divorced, I had a offer on that NFT for $60,000. And I wish I would have taken a screenshot or had some proof of that, but I don't know. I'll try and find some proof if I can. I had an offer and I didn't take it. Now the problem is when I went back and I'm like, okay, I have this investment. I can sell this to make some money so I can move and start over. It was not worth as much. It had gone down significantly. So I actually ended up selling it between 7,000 to 8,000, and that's what I moved on. I literally sold this NFT that I had bought, and I sold it for, like I said, 7,000, 8,000, and I moved to West Virginia with that money, and that's how I ended up back in West Virginia and how I was able to basically start over and start my business and kind of acclimate myself to this state. And so I just thought that was an interesting story. It's a story I've never shared before, but you know, a lot of people are iffy about these NFTs, and you have to be really careful. These were the only NFTs I bought. I only bought NFTs from Veefriends because I really trusted it, and now they're still, like, I would still be able to get my money back on the NFT that I bought, that I spent a few thousand. Like I said, I spent a few thousand on 2 of them. I could still get my money back on the one, so I sold one and I still have one that I'm keeping. And actually, Gary Vee is like building this entire character development from the characters that he drew, and he came out with Series 2, and anyone that owned Series 1 got the free NFTs with the Series 2. And so if you see a Hungry Hammerhead ever on my Facebook or my Instagram, that is what that is. It is a Veefriend, and I actually have, I'm gonna bring some of my things I got. Yeah, I have some show and tell for you guys. So first, I have this Empathy bottle of wine. I don't know if you guys can see that well or not, but it's the To the Moon Meerkat, and that is one of the characters that Gary Vee developed, Series 1 NFT. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And then I have this little rock. It's like a painted rock. Actually, someone else that owns some of the Veefriends, he actually was painting all these rocks, and so I got one from him. I'm not sure actually what character this is. I'll have to find it and I'll put the text up. And then I also have these trading cards. It's just like Pokemon, but obviously on a much lower level than Pokemon, but that's like the idea of it, is to have some sort of like Pokemon trading card game. It's kind of cool. A couple of these are worth, like, each card is like 20, 30 bucks. I don't remember how much I paid for this, but I have actually 2 sets of these like boxes with the cards. My favorite things, I have this cow. This is the Common Sense cow, and if you guys know anything about Gary Vee, this is kind of cool. And this is like obviously still in the bag. I haven't opened it. I kind of feel like my great grandma had these like dolls that she would collect, and she would just keep them in the boxes. That's like what I'm doing. So anyways, you can see the number. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but you can see the number 5 on there. If you know anything about Gary Vee, that's like his favorite number, so that's really cool. And then I have this giraffe, which is another character of his, and I don't know, oh, Genuine Giraffe, that's the name of this, the Genuine Giraffe. This is really cool. Yeah, I don't know, it's kind of like one of those things that that you don't grow out of, almost like stuffed animals. And I feel like everyone has like their little thing that they did when they were younger, like collected stuffed animals, or they collected cards, or they collected whatever. But yeah, this is like some, you know, and then we become adults and we start collecting wine bottles. But yeah, so that's just like a little fun, I guess, some lore about me and how I got to West Virginia and how I was able to kind of restart my life after getting divorced. And I think a lot of women get divorced and they don't have the financial stability to actually leave the person for whatever reason. And I think that I could have been in a bad situation if I didn't have those investments that I had made. And I'm so thankful that I had them and that I decided to put that money into that investment. And it like literally saved my life, I think, in a lot of ways, and saved me from having to stay somewhere where I didn't want or really couldn't be at anymore. So yeah, that's just some lore, a little fun story for the audience. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this podcast. If you guys did, please like, share, comment, tell me what you think. I really appreciate everyone that watches and listens to this podcast. You guys mean the absolute world to me, and I hope you have a wonderful week.